The Seattle Seahawks have made some major offseason moves, and so how will that affect their approach to the 2025 NFL Draft? My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we've got another Seattle Seahawks 3-round mock draft for you coming up. But before we do that, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button, tackle that bell, and also leave a like and a comment. Let us know what you think of this mock and what you want to see the Seahawks do come April. And Ryan, let's pull this up here. So, as we talked about, traded away Geno Smith, traded away DK Metcalf, signed Sam Howell as well. Also have let go of Tyler Lockett also. So a couple of big holes here in general. And so still, I feel like just going to be beefing up the offensive line is going to be one of their big approaches, but they can go, I think, in a lot more different directions, I feel, as of right now. And so we ended up going with Zabel. This has been a guy who has been rising up draft board significantly, especially too coming out of his Senior Bowl as well. But offensive tackle out of North Dakota State, going to kick into guard as well. And when I think of the Seattle Seahawks, they have some young interior offensive linemen, but I still think that's going to be an area they're going to want to address significantly.
Yeah.
Just make sure that they have the right guys in place. So, Ryan? What do you like about Zabel, and also what he would bring to the Seahawks offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably been the biggest riser throughout this draft process because he was like a fringe day 2 kind of pick, I think, going into it. And there were questions about his length, but then he went down to the Senior Bowl and just absolutely lit it up as an interior offensive lineman. And so from there, just been a steady rise up the draft board. He had a really good combine process. He can showed at the Senior Bowl he can play center. He can play both guard spots all throughout the interior. So I think teams are really starting to fall in love with him and his tape. And
Yeah.
he's a good pass blocker. He finishes blocks in the run game, and he can really move people. He understands leverage. So I really like the fit. Here they need interior offensive linemen. So that's a good one. If they want to go with somebody else that maybe played at a bigger school, Tyler Booker would be interesting. They could also go with like a James Pierce Jr. to go across from Boye Mafe, or maybe get a Walter Nolan and start rejuvenating the interior of that defensive line. So either way, I think it's going to be hard for them to go wrong, but I really like Gray Zabel here. Moving on to their next couple picks, which are back to back, thanks to the DK Metcalf trade. Go here and get Jayden Higgins, the wide receiver from Iowa State, and Shamar Turner, the defensive tackle from Texas A&M. Higgins is that big-bodied outside receiver that they don't really have now, that DK Metcalf is not on the roster, and so he can win down the field. He had a little bit more speed than people anticipated at the combine, and so he showed that he can be a true downfield separator, as well as a versatile piece that can kind of move around the offense. So I really like the fit
Yeah.
there, and Shamar Turner can be a pass rushing defensive tackle for this team.
Yeah, but that's they did end up signing Cooper Kupp and also Marquez Valdez-Scantling in free agency. That being said, is I don't think that would hinder them from going after an outside
No.
receiver like this, a guy that they can develop long term overall and build that good relationship with Jackson Smith-Njigba and also Sam Howell as well. Shamar Turner, as you talked about, I think just get some more depth, especially on that defensive interior, as they like to run that 3-4. And so they do have Byron Murphy from last year. Then also Leonard Williams is still great as well. And then Jaron Reed also too. But I still think just having some good depth, and this could be a guy that can come in and be a good spark plug. I think, especially his rookie year, and potentially also to keep on developing for later years as well. Also, too, if they end up changing defenses and going more to a 4-3, I think he would also be able to plug in there as one of the main defensive tackles. Also, so but that's more theoretical, so to say. So moving on now to their this is their original 3rd-round pick. This is where we have them going Ozzy Trapilo, offensive tackle. They're set with not Rashawn Slater.
Abraham Lucas.
Well, no, sorry, Charles Cross is who I'm talking about at
Yeah.
left tackle. But Abraham
Oh,
Lucas, though, their right tackle, he's coming into his rookie contract year as well. So what are they going to end up doing with him? If that's going to be something that they would want to explore, but still having good offensive line depth after him, really focusing on just the offensive line protecting Sam Howell, but also really wanting to improve that run game as well. And not saying that it's the running back room we love. I think everybody in Seattle, I think also just football fans in general, love the Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet running back room. They've just really struggled with the offensive line blocking for them. That's been their biggest issue overall. I would love to see what that running back tandem could do if they had a premier offensive line blocking for them. But
Yeah.
I think that's what they can end up potentially finding when they get Ozzy Trapilo.
Yeah, and also too with Ozzy Trapilo, he is a true tackle. He's not gonna really. I think he's like 6'7". He's not gonna kick into guard, but he's a really good athlete. He has a sturdy lower half. He bends really well at the hips, and so he doesn't have the true like tall tackle problems that a lot of times you see. The big thing with Abraham Lucas is just he hasn't really been able to stay healthy. I think throughout his career, and so that's kind of left a void there and
Yeah.
some worries extending him. The other thing with Ozzy Trapilo is he has been working with Dante Scarnecchia. For Seahawks fans that are unfamiliar, he is like the longtime New England offensive line coach that was there kind of throughout the dynasty. Ozzy Trapilo being at Boston College, getting some training with him in. So he has been working a little bit as a swing tackle as well. So I think that's just a little bit of extra added value there for him. So I really like the pick there. And then lastly, let's kind of wrap this up here with the final pick here. That's going to be Gunnar Helm. So I actually is Noah Fant still on the roster?
He is still on the roster.
He
Yeah.
is. And so I do think that he was a potential cut candidate this year. And so I think that they could be moving on from him in the future. But Gunnar Helm is also just a really solid tight end who can line up in line and do a lot of really good things for an offense. So I really like this fit here. You go and you get Sam Darnold, another pass catching weapon. And I just think it's a solid pick, good value. You add Jayden Higgins there as that outside receiver. Now you go kind of get a safety blanket and a tight end for Sam Darnold there.
Yeah, and so I like Gunnar Helm, especially too coming from Texas, as he was one of the key staple points of that offense this year, especially too with Isaiah Bond not really being as effective and a little more injury prone as initially thought. He was a guy that Quinn Ewers could really lean on, and so I'm very curious with what Seattle is going to be like in 2025. I mean, so many changes overall. You move on from Geno Smith, which I can understand why. You trade DK Metcalf. I get that a little bit more. I mean, you get good value for it overall, but it's. I'm curious on where they're going to really focus on trying to improve, and we definitely went the more heavy on the trench side of this draft. I think with 2 offensive line picks and then a defensive line pick as well, and so then we added on the skill position players because secondary. I like the moves that they've made so far. I mean, maybe they can improve a little bit in that scenario that we didn't address with these 5 picks. And that's something, as you saw too, is like Noel Williams could have been a route they could go instead of Gunnar Helm. Andrew Makuba, I think, would have been a very interesting one also. But once again, they have Kobe Bryant. I mean, then you have Reek Woolen, and then also then too Devin Witherspoon as well. So I'm curious now with these 5 picks and still trying to process kind of where their biggest weaknesses are. It's like because I like the players that they have there, but it's just how you don't know how they're all going to mesh together. Like in a perfect world, uh, Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith, and Jigba would be a great combo. Then Sam Howell, if he was a Sam Howell from last year, like within Minnesota.
Yeah.
And the not the end of the season, obviously, but I don't think some of that was really his fault. But there's potential for them to be really good, even with all these massive changes. It's just how's the team going to react with all these changes, and how long is it going to take them to mesh together?
Yeah, no, I think that's going to be a really interesting thing with the Seahawks because they did kind of blow things up, and so I'm curious if the changes that they're going to make are going to be positive. It does remind me a little bit of like Seattle or not Seattle, Minnesota last year. Obviously, the Sam Darnold difference is the same, but I thought they were going to bring Kirk Cousins back and maybe try to make another shot, but they went out, they signed a bunch of like smaller free agents that kind of fit the defensive scheme. They brought in Sam Darnold. They drafted JJ McCarthy. I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback. Well, at least not in the top 5 or 6 rounds, but and so like there's just a lot of questions. Like I could see them being not that great. I could also see them kind of being right where they were, or maybe even making improvements.
Yeah.
So it'll be a really interesting season for the Seahawks. They're definitely one of the more intriguing storylines to follow, I think, as this offseason goes on. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on what you thought of this Seattle Seahawks 3-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently? None of that. We'll see you guys next time.